Okay, and here we have this power supply. It's a little bit bigger than the last one I had. Quite obviously see that, but it's a bit more juicier. First off, it's either 110 or 220 volts AC in, and those are on the left here. So you have the live on the far left, neutral in the middle, and then the earth on the right. Now the earth, I have actually added a ring terminal, taken the screw out and screwed the terminal down properly, and also made sure that the earth wire is quite a bit longer than the live and the neutral wire. That's just in case anything happens and it pulls out, or when the live wire gets pulled out, then the earth should always remain intact. Really wise idea to do. And I've also cable tied the mains in onto the side of the case, so that if accidents happen, you could trip over it, and this will actually mean that the whole thing will come off the top or will be moved, but it will not pull the wires out of the connections. Then there's a little cover there that will come in down into place, and as you can see, we actually have three 12 volt DC outputs, which is very, very handy. And what I've done, I've actually added an inline fuse here, okay, because this is 20 amps maximum can be drawn from this unit. Now obviously with our electrics, if we have a little short or something, and it could pull all 20 amps, and that will melt quite a few of our circuitry. Well, put it this way, it'll damage it beyond repair. So I'll put this inline fuse in, and there's a 3.2 amp fuse in there, and so for each output that comes out, I will put a inline fuse just to protect everything. Okay, but it is a lovely little unit, and for just over £11, I don't think you can go wrong, because this should supply all of my 12 volt needs on the whole of the layout, and that will be absolutely everything. So all I need to do is get that fixed somewhere, fixed on the wall I expect, near a AC outlet socket, and just run the 12 volt wires around the layout as like a separate bus. So yeah, that is the my new 12 volt power supply, and I'll put a link up on the in the description for the video. Okay, so now let's go and have a look at the boards. Okay, in today's video, which is part 2 of the Megapoint's controller systems, we'll be using these two boards here and this link loom. Okay, now we're all familiar, well hopefully we're all familiar now with the servo controller board, which was featured in the last video, but the new addition is this little board here. Now this is the Megapoint's DCC adapter board, and this is what we'll be using to control the points from Railmaster and through the servo controller. Now on this board we have the 12 volts DC in. Again, we've got a rectifier on here which will automatically adjust whichever way you put the wires in, so it doesn't matter. And we'll be using this button here, which is the address button, and we'll be using these connectors at the top here on the left, which are the network connectors. Now these will connect to the network connectors here on the servo controller board. Now I expect, as you can see, we have SDA, GND, which I gather is ground, and SCL, and on here we have SCL, GND and SDA. Now when we use this link loom to connect up the network connectors, we've got to make sure we have them the correct way around on here and on there, or at least just to make sure that they match each other. So if we have yellow on SCL on the top, we have to make sure the yellow is on the SCL here on the bottom. Okay, so what I'll do now, I'll get these boards into position, and get some power to them. Okay, back in a mo. Hi everyone, and welcome back. And here we have the setup. So we've got the two boards back in place again, but this time to try and get everything into camera shot or video shot, I've removed the servos that we're not going to use in this video, and just left us with 4 servos. So we got servo 1, servo 2, servo 3 and servo 4, and I've got the DCC adapter board already wired up, as you can see, and as I explained in the previous video, or the bit before I made this video, it doesn't matter which way we wire this into the board, because it will all be taken care of by the rectifier just here. Alright, and obviously, yes, this comes direct from the E-Link controller. Alright, so this is our DCC power line in, or what will come from the bus wire underneath the baseboards. And what I've done, I've linked this the DCC board via the network pins here. There's 2 we can use, so you can use either one of these, it doesn't matter, to the servo controller board, and that's got 2 network connectors as well, and it doesn't matter which one you connect to on that either. But what does matter is to make sure you get the polarity right on the link loom. So here we have SDA, and what I've done, I've used a yellow wire from SDA to make sure it goes to the SDA on this board. Okay, it's very important to get that right. So yeah, in this video what we're going to be looking at is the address button here on the DCC board and the little green LED, and on this board here we're going to be looking at the low, program and high button. Alright, that's the buttons we'll be looking for, and obviously the yellow LED here. Alright, so what I'll do now, I need to power them up. So the first thing we'll do, we'll power up Railmaster. I'll start Railmaster up, and what you do is you will actually see that come up in the top right hand corner here, I hope. Okay, and that's just so that whilst we create things on Railmaster, you can see what happens with the servos. Okay, so I'll get that started now. So just select a Railmaster icon, and whilst we're waiting for that to load up, I'm going to have to go through, there'll be a couple of little boxes which will pop up. One of those will be to plug in the E-Link, or power up the E-Link. Now I had been thinking about actually using the mode button. I might do yet, I don't know, we'll see. That's a nifty little trick for reversing the servos. Okay, but I'm not sure if I do that in this video. I might leave it for a different video when we're actually setting up the points on the fiddle yard. Okay, so I'll just hit enter and get rid of that little text box, and now it should come up asking me to plug in the E-Link, which it is. So I'll get and plug that in now. Hang on there, bear with me. There we go. That's E-Link plugged in. And you'll see we have 2 pulsing green LED lights here. Now the reason why they're both lit up is because the servo controller board is not powered up. So what we'll do, we'll power that up now, and you'll find that the mode LED will go out, and we'll just have a pulsing address LED. So there, we now got power, as you can see, to the servo controller board by the yellow pulsing light, and the green LED light on the DCC board is now pulsing as well. Alright, so they're both powered up. The servos moved back into their normal operating position. So looking at Railmaster, what we've got up on the screen at the moment, we've got my basic track plan of the fiddle yard and the turnouts that I've already put in. Now we're not going to use that, we're going to create our own or a new track plan, okay? So let's do that now. What we'll do is up here are 1, 2, 3, 4, top left, we'll pick the design layout option, which is the symbol of a compass. So left click on that, and we have an empty board for creating a track plan. So we're just going to create a very simple plan, alright, just using straight track and 4 left-hand turnouts. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is select a straight track, and here it is, second one down, which is add a horizontal track element, which we will do, and there it is. So we'll bring it down and put it in the location that we want. Let's go for 610 square, shall we? And we can add another one just by left double click next to it and add another straight in for us. So look, put our first turnout in, and I said we want a left hand turnout, and here we are. Select that, and we'll put that into place. Then we'll put another couple of straights in, and then select another turnout, another couple of straights, and another turnout. Guess what we're going to do next? Yeah, you got it. Another couple of straights, and believe it or not, another left hand turnout. So there, I'll just put a couple of straights in on the end. So there we have our 4 turnouts. Alright, now we need to add the operating buttons so we can click on them to actually actuate the turnouts. And they're down here. Second up from the bottom, we have add point control buttons and other functions. So we left click on that, and we want to select the add point control buttons. So left click once, and we get a pair of control buttons up here. Just put them in the same square as the turnout, and it automatically placed them. So we just do that for the other 3 turnouts. Put it in the square where the turnout is, and it automatically puts them in position. And for the 3rd, and again for the 4th. Okay, so we now have 4 turnouts, and we have 4 buttons or operating buttons for the turnouts. Now we've got to assign these buttons for what we want. So basically we're going to do turnout 1, turnout 2, turnout 3 and turnout 4. Okay, so the way we do that is we just right click on one of the buttons, on the first button, and Controller A, that's what we want because that's what the E-link is. Decoder port, which is turnout number 1. Alright, now we have to select the type of point motor that we're using. Now in this drop down box there's a whole array of different decoders and everything. Let's see, you've even got the Cobalt point motor with decoder there, but what we're after is right at the very bottom, the very last one, the ZTC 302 point motor with decoder. Nice and easy, it's not in the middle anywhere, which it's right at the bottom, so we know where to go to straight away each time. Okay, so we select that, and that's done. We won't use any of this at the moment, okay, and we'll just click on the little X button to close it, and then we'll go to turnout number 2. So again, we want to select decoder port 2 for turnout 2, and the same point motor, the ZTC 302. Alright, and again, click on the little X in the top right hand corner, and we'll close it. Now we do that for the other 3, so this will be turnout 3, same point motor, nice and easy, right at the bottom, and close. And of course number 4, that'll be port 4, and the same motor, okay, at the bottom, and close. Now believe it or not, that's the design stage done and over with. If I hover over number 1, you can see it comes up Controller A port 1, number 2, Controller A port 2, and we get port 3, port 4. So that's brilliant, that's done. Now we've got to name the track. Okay, so down here in the bottom left hand corner, or name the plan, we'll name this YT for YouTube, sample. Okay, and now we come over to the bottom right hand corner and click on the green tick, and now it's saved. Okay, then we just click on the X to close it, and we're back to our Railmaster front page. But as you can see, we've still got my fiddle yard on there. So we've got to change that, and by doing that we go to settings, which is top left, the very first button, system settings, and select that. And in this dialog box here, we want to go right to the middle where it says startup track fiddle yard. Now we want to change that, and one of the reasons I also picked YT for YouTube is that because this is alphabetical, it's going to be right at the very bottom, easy to find again. So we'll select YT sample, click on the save settings button, and here we are. We now have the sample track plan we made. But if we click on the buttons, nothing happens, nothing at all. Now that's because we now have to assign these points or turnouts, or set the decoders on them, okay, via the board. So what we'll do is we come up to program accessory decoder, one which has like a metaphor, single metaphor, and the points. Okay, so we select on that, and in this dialog box, quite simple again, we don't want the Hornby R8247, that's not what we're using. We're going to use our ZTC302 point motor decoder again. Nice and easy right at the bottom. So we select that, and we want port number 1, so that's going to be point 1. Okay. Now we've got in the bottom left hand corner we have the little box which says write to decoder. But before we do that, on here on the DCC board we're going to have to press and hold down the address button until that green light becomes a static green light. There we go, that's now static. And what we do is press the write to decoder. It comes up with a little bit of text here, but all we need to do is press the green tick button, and as it writes to the decoder, when it's done you'll see that the static green LED is now pulsing green LED. Now we now know that that address has been written to the DCC board. Okay, so we can come out of that, and it's very simple. All we do, we don't have to come out of this, we just go to put in number 2 and go through the whole process again for the second board. So I'll press and hold down the address button, static green LED, and click the tick, green tick, and it will program the address. And now we want to do number 3. So again we come back to the DCC board, just press the address button, static green light, which gives us a go ahead to program, which is what we've done, and it's gone back to a pulsing green, so we know that's worked and it's programmed. And we just do the last and final point, so we will press and hold the address button again till we have a static green, and just go through that process for the last time, and that's it, that's done. They're now all programmed. But if I press on these, still nothing, they don't move. That's because we have one final thing to do, and what that is that the servo controller board is not in slave mode, it's in basically simple mode, and simple mode is when you will use this switchboard. Okay, so I'll put that switchboard on, I could operate the servos, but we want to operate these servos via the DCC controller board, so we have to turn it into a slave board. And the way we do that is we turn off, or we power down the servos. Once they're powered down, you'll notice on the DCC board these green LEDs will go a solid green again with a very faint pulse. Now the servo board is shut down, and what we need to do is press and hold the low button. Alright, press and hold as we turn the power back on. There we go, flashing red light, and we're looking for that to pulse twice. Yes, so the yellow light pulsed twice. So we're now in an address mode as the servo board is now acting as a slave board. Now if we come back to the point motors here, fingers crossed, when I click on one of these points, the servo will turn. And it hasn't. Oh boy, and why is that then? Oh, there you go. Right, now I know why. Okay, there's something else we might have to do. And what one of those is we press and hold down the mode button again on the DCC board until it's a static green, okay? And then we go to point 1 and just press one of the buttons on there, okay? So just done. Now that's static green LED is now gone back to pulsing. So hopefully that now means these are all programmed as they should be, okay? So let's try number 2, number 3, number 4. We'll just turn them back. 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, and back again. So there we are. That's how to set up the Megapoint controller boards, the servo controller board, the DCC adapter board, and the servos with Hornby's Railmaster. I know it sounds and looked a little bit awkward to do, and I suppose it is, but I think that's pretty much on Hornby's side, or on the Railmaster side. When I was first doing this, there's a couple of times I actually had to reboot or shut down and restart Railmaster before it would work. It would start freezing on me, and it was just a total nightmare. But there's a couple of little tricks I can show you now. Now, particularly now if these are working. So if I turn them all, you can see obviously in the bottom left corner the servos are straightening up. Now say I don't want the servos the way they are, okay? So as you can see, I've got these points straight through now. I'm not going to the left, but say I want the servos turn to the left and not to the right. Now the way you can do that, which is a really easy way of doing that, is to go back into the design layout plan, okay, that compass symbol, and it brings up obviously a blank sheet. So what we want to do is go and find the plan that we had, which again is at the very bottom, YT sample, and here it is. So very simply, all you do is right click on the point, and where we didn't do anything in here before, just click reverse polarity, okay, and we'll do that on all of them. So there, that's all 4 done with reverse polarity. Click the little green tick button to save. Yes, we want to save. Overwrite, and we'll close that down. And there, we can now, let's see what happens when we turn the points now. They won't move at the moment because don't forget we've turned the polarity. So now they will turn when I click to put them the opposite way. There. So that's 4, 3, 2, 1. So now as they're straight through, they're turned in the opposite direction to the way they were when we first set them up. Okay, so pretty impressive, good stuff. I won't go through the mode button today because that is another way of doing changing or reversing the servos. I just found that with Railmaster, because of a bit of software, it's a lot quicker to do it that way than it was for me to do it via these buttons here. Although it's still quite quick, but I can understand this will be absolutely perfect for if you're on using a DC layout, because you won't have the option to do it through a bit of software like we're using on our DCC systems. Okay, so well, I hope that helped you all out. If any bit of it you didn't understand and you'd just like me to go through it again, please, by all means, just ask, and I'll try and make the time to do that. Okay, and the next video will be with the not the oh crumbs I've got with the relays in, all right, and the relay board. So that should make it even more interesting, and there'll be a lot more actually on the actually no, there won't be, because I'll just put the relays on. I won't have the other servos. It'll just be the one servo on the turnout. Okay, so anyway, that's it. You all have a great time and catch you again next weekend. Ta-ra!